All right, so this is part 2 of the Shakespeare video. I wanted to kind of put it up into 2 parts just because it got kind of big. So again, this is all in one PowerPoint. The first video was over slides 1 through 26. There we reviewed Shakespeare drama terms, elements of tragedy, and a little bit about poetry and poetic terms. On this one, and I think this one's especially important to read aloud. Hold on, let me get through this. We're going to review some more elements of poetry, specifically iambic pentameter. And again, this is something that's really hard to teach without using audio. It would just be too difficult. So I hope you at least listen to this PowerPoint presentation here, just so you can hear what it sounds like. Because Shakespeare, and I feel like it's really neat, had a wonderful rhythm he used in his writing. Okay, so iambic pentameter is one of those poetic elements that he used, and we're talking about rhythm. So it's a type of meter with 10 syllables per line, where every second syllable is stressed or emphasized. Okay, so I know that sounds kind of complicated. I'm going to break it down, don't worry. So let's backtrack. A syllable is an uninterrupted segment of speech. Think about, like, you probably have done it with spelling words, like how many syllables are in the word stop? Well, when we're talking about a syllable, it's, when you think about it, one syllable is pronounced, the jaw drops once. So with stop, it's one. So here's a couple we can look at. For instance, if we do, and place your hand on your jaw while we practice, if we do car, it's one. Okay. Now I had to double check myself on this next one. Let's do determination. So again, have your hand under your jaw. You might look silly, but that's okay. All right, so determination. You ready? Determination. How many syllables are there? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's 5 syllables. When we talk about iambic pentameter, Shakespeare is only going to use 10 syllables total in each line. That's why, in all honesty, he invented so many words that we use nowadays, because he could only do 10 syllables per line. So this is, I didn't have you write in it. It's kind of fun to have to do it, but it definitely makes you be very creative, and that's how you got creative with his words. All right, so let's keep looking at this. So when we're reading iambic pentameter, there's 10 syllables a line. And it also means it's a series of stressed, unstressed. It's that rhythm. I mean, if you listen to music, you'll pick it up. A rhythm that's going back and forth. So when we talk about stressed, we're saying it's a part of the word that's emphasized or stated slightly louder than the word's other syllables. So we're going to listen to yourself pronounce these following words and try to figure out which syllable is stressed. Okay. Token. Which syllable is stressed? Is it that toke part or that in? Let's look. Token. It's this part right here. So this is unstressed, and this is more emphasized, that kin part of token. All right, let's look at the next one. So here the word is failure. So let's see what is stressed, what is unstressed. Failure. Well, if we look, we have more emphasis on this er part. So it's failure. This is the stressed part. Okay, let's do myself. Myself. What again is stressed? It is self. Okay, so let's actually practice the line here. So iambic pentameter, what we're saying is that you're going to have that meter, you have 10 syllables where every second syllable is stressed or emphasized. So it's 2 consecutive syllables with the last syllable stressed. That might still sound confusing because I'm going to say it's 5 iams, but what I'm meaning is it's unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed. I think that's 5. That's what you're kind of having. Is that rhythm's repeating just 5 times. Okay, so here's an example. Okay. This has 10 syllables in this line, and it's going to be unstressed, stressed. Till then, sit still, my soul. Foul deeds will rise. Okay, so let's break that down a little bit more. You ready? So this is our first part of this. Okay, so now it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice that's 5. So that's what this pattern is. So there's 5 different sets. This mark right here is showing that it's stressed. So this syllable is not stressed. Till then. Okay. So till then, sit still, my soul. Foul deeds will rise. Okay. And notice it's even emphasizing we know to sit still and that whatever these deeds are happening are going to happen is going to rise. So something bad is going to happen is basically what that's meaning. Let's do another line. Okay. And let me see if I can move this a little bit for now. But it's if she be black and therefore and thereto have a wit. So if she be black and therefore have a wit. Okay, so if we keep going, if she be black and thereto have a wit. So if she, that's emphasized, be black and thereto have a wit. So again, you've got 10 syllables and it's divided up into these pairs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The second word is, or syllable is stressed. Okay. And that's from Othello. Okay, so blank verse, and this is one of your vocab words, it's just saying it's that iambic pentameter, and it's just not rhyming at the end. Okay, it has that rhythm. So here's an example of it. Have I, my lord, I assure my good liege. I hold my duty as I hold my soul, both to my God and to my gracious king. And I do think, or else, this brain of mine, hunts not the trail of policy so sure, as it hath used to do, that I have found the very cause of Hamlet's lunacy. So here he's saying, here I am, my lord, I'm here to serve you. I'm thinking that there's something going on of what's going on with Hamlet. I may know what's causing him to go crazy. And again, if you look at these lines here, they're not rhyming, but we still have that rhythm, okay? 10 syllables, unstressed, stressed. Have I, my lord, I assure my good liege, okay? Couplets are when we do have rhyming, and you might have seen this in poetry. So it's 2 consecutive lines of rhyming. So this is from King Lear. But yes, alas, stood I within his grace. I would prefer him to be a better place. So we've got grace and place, they're rhyming. If you add that to a second one, you have a couplet. These are some corny examples. I'll read them. If you want to write in the comments what you come up with, great, to kind of form that couplet. But I'm not going to go over them too much. So one day at school, I wrote a story, find something to rhyme with story. I hung out with my friends in a new place. Do you like the new dance they do on TV? Okay. So a sonnet is a 14-line poem with a set pattern of rhyme. So Shakespeare's sonnets had this type of rhyme scheme. A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, G. So basically we're saying this is the rhyme scheme for a 14-line poem, and that's a sonnet. It's grouped into sections that have 4 lines, and that's a quatrain. Okay, that means 4. And each quatrain expresses a key point. And then there's a couplet that's 2 rhyming at the end. Okay, so he has 3 quatrains and a couplet in his. Usually the format is that there's an idea and then an answer to a question and then a closing argument found in a quatrain of 3 or the couplet. So this is some important dialogue from Romeo and Juliet in a sonnet. And this is one of the most famous lines where they talk about whether or not they should kiss. Okay, so to Juliet, this is Romeo saying this to her. If I profane with my unworthiest hand this holy shrine, the gentle face is this. My lips, 2 blushing pilgrims, ready stand to smooth that rough touch with a tender kiss. And then we have Juliet. Good pilgrim, you do wrong your hand too much, which mannerly devotion shows in this. For saints have hands that pilgrims' hands do touch, and palm to palm is holy palmer's kiss. And then Romeo answers her question, have not saint lips and holy palmers too? And Juliet answers, pilgrim lips that they must use in prayer. And Romeo goes, oh then, dear saint, let lips do what hands do. They pray and grant thou, lest faith turn to despair. Saints do not move, and thou grant for prayer's sake. Oh, hold on, sorry. They move not, while my prayer's effect I take. And so if we look here, we've got our rhyme scheme. So we've got hands and stand. That's our first rhyme, so we'd have that as an A. Then we have this and kiss. This doesn't rhyme with hands, so that would be B. So you've got that A, B rhyme scheme. I wonder if it would let me, can I write on here? I'm not sure if it will or not. But so pretend that's A, B, A, B. Then we look at much. That doesn't rhyme with kiss or stand, so you give that a C. This, though, does rhyme with kiss and this up above, so you would give that the same letter as B, and it continues to go. Okay, and here, as we keep going through the sonnet too, we can see that they're talking about the fact that he would like to kiss her, and she's saying, I don't know if that's something that we should do, and he says it's a holy, pure thing to kiss, as Romeo tries to convince Juliet of that. Okay, so as we look here, we've got Shakespeare combined words. He has a lot going on between rhyme scheme, iambic pentameter with a rhythm. So he would kind of use wordplay as well, which are some of my favorites to kind of get points across. So one thing we might see is paradox, and we studied this at the beginning of the year. This is a contradictory statement that contains a truth, a statement that presents opposite ideas, even though both ideas are somewhat truthful. So for instance, a rich man is no richer than a poor man. Well, hold on. If a rich man might have more money, right? So it doesn't seem like it can be true, but think about it. When we talk about rich and poor, is it always just to do with money? I would say I'm very rich with, family, or having rich in my love for teaching my students and education and being able to care for others. Okay, so it's not just, they're saying sometimes, a poor man momentarily with money still might be rich, and other things like that. I am nobody is a famous line from Emily Dickinson's poems. And so it seems like a paradox. I am nobody, but you have to be somebody if you are being, right? But they're saying, well, technically, I am somebody, but sometimes I feel like I'm nobody and I don't exist, right? Which is a very sad place to be. But that's what she was feeling at the moment, and that's what poetry can get across. Definitely a very cathartic way to get emotions across. Paradox, again, these are some uses in Shakespeare. We have fair is foul and foul is fair. Sometimes what is fair is not always right. It can be obviously awful. Think about it. If you have, I have my German Shepherd and I have my Shih Tzu, and if I were to have them race, I don't necessarily think that would be fair, because obviously one's legs are a lot smaller than the other. So I was saying that's relative. Another one here, you will be lesser than Macbeth and greater. Sometimes people can be better than each other in some areas, but not in other cases. So those are some other examples. Metaphor, we know, is a comparison of two unlike things. So let's see if you can figure out what's being compared. This is from Romeo and Juliet. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. So what is being compared here? So if you see, Juliet is being compared to the sun. So she has all those properties of being wonderful, and his reason for, think about it, everything rises in the morning. So he's the reason that everything is, she's the reason everything's there in existence. Okay, I'm going to skip this Macbeth one for now, because I'm so excited to go on my favorite puns. So puns, you might see, that's a play on words that uses words with similar sounds or similar meanings to make a point. A popular example, are you ready? What has four wheels and flies? I'll give you a moment here. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. A garbage truck. You get it? All right. So think about it. A garbage truck has 4 wheels, and probably with the trash, there's probably some flies buzzing around. See? It's a play on words on flies. If you think of some good puns, please make sure to tell me some. Now that's punny. I love my puns. We should do some more pun work. Might do that in the future. Here's another pun. This one kind of makes me sad, though, and maybe you'll see why. This is my job. It's so depressing. So depressing. He doesn't look too happy. I'll let you figure that one on your own. Ba-bum-bum. Okay. Here's some more of Shakespeare's puns, or play on words that uses meaning. So Romeo said, I dreamed a dream tonight. And Mercutio, his friend, said, and so did I. And Romeo goes, well, what was yours? And Mercutio goes, that dreamers often lie. So think of here. Can you explain this pun? So when you're trying to figure this out, think, what word is Mercutio using that has more than one meaning? Well, Let's see, you dreamed a dream, and so did I. Well, what was yours? That dreamers often lie. Well, the word is lie. Mercutio is saying that dreamers often, when you're lying down to sleep and dream, you have to lie. But he's also saying that dreamers lie, which means that Romeo might be lying and not telling the truth. Another element, this is our last section, so thanks for hanging in, is some more important elements that you might see or some literary devices. And these should be review, but I wanted to make sure we had a refresher on them because these are devices that Shakespeare used in his literature. Fate is kind of like a theme topic per se that Shakespeare believed a lot in, and that's the power that there's an unchangeable power that controls events in our lives. So in general, Shakespeare believed that the following beliefs about fate, that there's many events in life and things are just bound to happen and there's nothing you can do about it. It's just either good luck or bad luck. That's just how it turns out. So they believed a lot in superstition, astrology, zodiacs, and the stars were often powerful influencers for that. So you see this example here where it says, if the stars above us govern our conditions. So here they're already saying that the stars are what should be something to blame. It's already written in the stars. There's nothing you can do. Character foil, something else we'll see. Characters who differ from each other in order to highlight the contrast. So Shakespeare uses foils to point out certain traits of the main character. So you'll see good versus evil. The foil is a character who usually does not live to the end of the tragedy. And the foil is there to make the main character stand out. I think you'll understand this better when I show you some lovely pictures. So for instance, we have Scar and Mufasa. It took me a second. I almost forgot his name, but I got it. Okay, they're both foils, kind of against each other here. They stand for opposite things, okay? Or they're opposites. We have my favorites, Patrick and SpongeBob. One is a pessimist, one is an optimist, and really this contrast kind of gets us to know the characters a little bit more, okay? Pathetic fallacy is something else you might see, and it's disruption of the entire chain being caused by the main character's sin. And I feel like we kind of saw this a little bit in the Odyssey. Shakespeare uses it to show that one wrong deed can affect everything that is living or under the weather. So this could happen with weather, or animals behave terribly, or plants die. And so, for instance, this is a fallacy from Macbeth, and the old man goes, "'Tis unnatural, even like the deed that's done." So something happened that's awful, okay? On Tuesday last, a falcon, towering in her pride of place, was by a mousing owl hawked and killed. So a falcon, this big, powerful bird, was all of a sudden just killed, just like whatever else is done that was unnatural. Then Ross goes, "And Duncan's horse, a thing most strange and certain, Beautitus and Swift, the minions of their race, turned wild in nature, broke their stalls, flung out, and contending against obedience as they would make war with mankind. And 'tis said they ate each other." Awful, awful. And it's comparing these horses going against each other to what's going on with mankind. So notice kind of sometimes when these awful things are going in mankind, it's also affecting nature and animals. And that's called pathetic fallacy. Almost done here. We've got irony, which is, we've learned so much about the contrast between expectation and reality. Dramatic irony is when we, the audience, know something the characters do not. Situational irony is, here we have a lovely example with our polar bear. When one situation happens, even though another situation is expected. So we would think that the polar bear probably would understand that, there's going to be ice in his habitat, but apparently not. And then verbal irony, which I never use, is sarcasm, when a character says one thing but really means something else. Okay, symbolism, we've talked a lot about with the Scarlet Ibis and some of our other works. It's the use of objects to create ideas and concepts. So here we've got a dagger from Macbeth, a skull from Hamlet, poison from Romeo and Juliet, and a handkerchief from Othello. So these are meaning deeper things. When we read the Scarlet Ibis, for instance, the Scarlet Ibis actually stood for doodle. Okay. Red could stand for something. So you will see those repeated images that are standing for those larger concepts. All right, that is the end of this PowerPoint. I definitely recommend, if I were you, to re-listen to that iambic pentameter section. Hopefully this kind of helps us get started, and feel free to email me any questions. I do apologize. I know I'm going a little fast on this. Hopefully I get better in time. So thank you very much for being my guinea pigs and bearing with me, because I just completed my first set of screencastifys. Again, I'll post a copy of this PowerPoint as well without my talking, but I figured it would help you as well. All right, I miss you guys terribly. Please let me know if there's anything else I can do for you.